The content on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only. Please contact a professional when it comes to your financial needs. One thing that we're not going to bring into 2026 is a scammer's mentality. Now, a lot of times, the increasing number of scams that are out there being perpetrated within our community are not simply because of charismatic speakers who tell you these glitches and these hookups and these waves. Nah. What's at the heart of all these things, the thing that they have all in common, is greed. And not greed on the side of the person telling you the scheme, it's within your own heart. We're going to get at the anatomy of a scam right here, right now on the Ujamaa Network. Now, suffice it to say, scams go on in every community. That's a given. But when it comes to people who I grew up with, people who I share a common cultural relationship to, way of thinking, there is something that goes on when somebody starts talking fast, trying to get you to get on board to something that you got an inkling ain't all the way on the up and up, but you ride with it. And during that process, there's almost a giddy euphoria. Even though the pitch is being fed to you at a high verbal rate, you already know there's something not quite right about it, but you go along with it anyway. What is that thing? Well, I call it the anatomy of a scam because it really doesn't matter who the speaker is. A lot of these individuals, they speak down to us or speak up to us. They use a common language or slang or profanity laden pitch that you and your cultural identity kind of identify with. They speak to you, but what are they actually saying? We're going to talk about 4 or 5 of these scams that have been running wild for the past 5 years. It's always something that gets you on the hook. But where the real problem is greed of the heart. Because it's not those individuals spitting that game. Somebody got to listen and then execute to get caught up in these scams. And let's talk about what these scams were. Now, we're not going to go into specific orders of these scams, but we're going to talk about the anatomy of them. Now, first one, obviously, is the granddaddy. That was the PPP scam way back when COVID was still rocking. You had people running down to the bank, um, trying to represent themselves as businesses, and they had no business employers, and they were no employees. Uh, yeah, mad people claiming there was some loss they suffered throughout that time, and got some cases tens of thousands of dollars. Now, there were over 11.5 million loans issued, resulting in about $1 billion or so dollars. Now, of that billion, 785 million were just forgiven, but that still netted over 200 criminal convictions and thousands of investigations. People are still being sent to prison on that. And what was at the center of these loans? It wasn't the government, it was greed. Greed was at the center of that. People trying to make a lick, trying to make a come up. I remember the talk, and we're still hearing the talk. People going to jail right now after years of litigation. It's crazy. And at the onset of it, people were literally giddy about getting those loans. It didn't make any sense. And since then, a task force has been set up by the Small Business Administration and the FBI, which have, like I said, led to about 200 some odd convictions. But again, the initial response in the community was get this money. People looking for an instant lick. And why are we constantly finding ourselves in a position where we got to do something reckless and stupid, FO and FA, just to end up right back where you started from? And for what? For what? Of course, that wasn't enough. We had another scam that was highlighted on one of the podcasts, and how it worked was this: you would have individuals go into a Navy Federal credit union and attempt to purchase a car, get a car loan. Two different variations of the same scam. Basically, we're going to take this money that we got approved for to buy a vehicle, buy a member, and then convert it to whatever without ever having to produce a car. Now, that one was spelled out on the podcast. I'm going to leave the link so you can see the video itself of how this thing actually worked out. But the thing about it is this: in that room, there was glee. When he was announcing, when he was talking so plainly to people, people were actually giddy. I don't know if it was nervous laughter or whatever, but that's the kind of reaction you see when people are up to no good and they think it's cute, funny, or smart. That's the thing I'm talking about, the anatomy of a scam. It doesn't start merely with this wild idea to get cash. It starts in the heart. People want it to get that money at any cost, and you have to have some level of ethics to make sure you are not setting yourself up for failure. That was that. Now, the next two we're going to talk about have to do with something that cryptocurrency could eliminate overnight. And I'm going to tell you how that's going to happen. Now, let's talk about those two infinite money schemes or scams. One from the J.P. Chase Morgan ATMs, and then there was Cash App. Both of these scams relied on one thing: the time it takes for funds to settle from a deposit to actually getting to the bank's hands or to the user's hands. The time that it takes. In each case, these funds were being transferred and people would quickly max out amounts or withdraw the funds before the funds settled. This gray area, not even a gray area, this time frame is all a crook needs to fleece the bank out of these funds. Now, of course, you're left on the hook for those individuals who have obtained access to those accounts fraudulently and passed the debt on to somebody else, uh, as is the case with JP Morgan Chase. But with the Cash App, it was the users themselves that were thinking they were getting a, um, a refund or a fix for an overcharge that was appearing on their Cash App accounts. And they just kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. That ended up hurting themselves. But it was crazy because how this can be avoided with cryptocurrency is the fact that all cryptocurrencies offer almost instant settling times. I think Bitcoin being one of the slowest. Ethereum is faster, but there is just so much in gas fees that it makes it unsuitable for the type of settlement times and transactions that we would need on the fly. But something like XRP and Ripple is already in the bank. Some of the processing times that it takes to post transactions to ledgers are already in place. But with XRP and Bitcoin, we're talking about settlement times of less than a minute. That's not enough time for people to exploit a loophole or glitch in how the banks handle money. That is the area that we like to educate people on this channel. You use an instant settlement platform like a cryptocurrency and the digital ledger, the blockchain. There is just not enough time for these scammers to get into these banks and out. The funds have to be there. And that is the point of all this. We want to educate you so you know how these things are going to turn out. I think this is the one area where cryptocurrency can save banks millions, if not billions of dollars, at the same time protecting their customers by making sure that these settlements are secure and fast. Last but not least is the newest scam that's hitting people in the head right now is that Klarna scam. Some of you knuckleheads are getting tripped up in the worst way. There's just no way possible you thought that going to the dark web to purchase, this is what these jokers are doing. Purchase someone's leaked information, their social, their name, and then going ahead and trying to open up and succeeding with opening up lines of credit with either Klarna or another buy now, pay later app. Using that now newfound credit to go buy electronics to flip or hawk on the streets. You weird. You weird. Just weird. There's just no excuse for it. You just committed identity theft and wire fraud. You are cooked, and yes, they're gonna catch you. Why? Because you self-ratting. You snitching on yourself. Some of these knuckleheads are out here posting the crime in detail. Some of them are taking photos of themselves, going into these stores, spending thousands of dollars on electronics. I don't know if you realize it or not. The feds is watching all of this stuff. And that's not to say that, you need to be scared of the feds. You only need to be scared of the feds if you're doing some federal crime stuff. So understand, if you fall victim to this and are so giddy about doing it, and that's the thing that drives me crazy, they be smiling like this is something sweet. Bro, do you not know what you're doing to yourself? You don't. And I don't understand it when there's so many other ways to make money legally with your own money. And it doesn't matter how you start. Go back and look at one of those videos. There's a video I just put out yesterday about the Munger method from going from zero to several $1,000s in the first year if you just get your head right. And it's more than just motivational speech. He's telling you step by step what you got to do and what you're not going to do to get this money. And it's just about your commitment to it. That's all. That's not nothing motivational. And I like the way he talked about it. And the way he talked, the voice he talked with. That's just how my generation and the generation before me talked. They didn't try to hype you up, try to get you in your feelings. No, you do this, this, and this. It's over. Very short, to the point. We don't care about your feelings. Get it done. That's what we need in this generation. I want to go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you later.